Katie here. I am the programming coordinator at Historic Charlton Park, and today I'm going to tell you a bit about how our park was founded and our founder, Irving Charlton. Mr. Charlton was born and raised in the Hastings area. He attended Hastings High School just like myself, and then went on to study at Michigan State University, where he studied mechanics. Finishing his time at MSU, he then went on to travel both the US and Canada, teaching in both places, before going to work for the US War Department. While at the U.S. War Department, Mr. Charlton taught soldiers skills they could use for after the war. So skills like mechanics, but also skills like electrical work as well. Finishing his time there in Philadelphia, Mr. Charlton moved back to the Hastings area and began to farm. Now, throughout the course of his lifetime, Mr. Charlton loved to collect things. He collected things on his travels, he collected things from his family and friends, but he also collected things from garbage dumps. And he did this because he was collecting everyday use items that people would use and use and use, and then often just throw away once they were done using them. But he collected these items because he wanted to give people like you and I an idea of what it was like to live in the late 1800s, early 1900s in a small farming community like Hastings. By the time Mr. Charlton passed away in 1963, he had quite the collection. It was rumored to be about 150,000 different artifacts, and that was all being stored in the Stone Museum building at Historic Charlton Park. And stored is really a kind word for what was going on there. Essentially, he had packed that building so tight that you had to walk through on a narrow pathway, and if you saw something you were interested in looking at, you simply took it off the pile, took a peek at it, and then hopefully put it back. So when Mr. Charlton passed away, he left his land and his collection to Berry County. Berry County took one look at that museum and was like, ooh, maybe we can do something a little different. So they decided to build a historic village. What this means is that all the buildings you see at Historic Charlton Park today weren't there originally. They were actually moved there. So some of them were taken apart piece by piece and then reassembled like a giant puzzle. Others were simply picked up, put on the back of a truck, and driven into the village that way. It also means that your presenters that you see at the village during field trips, special events, or if you watch our videos today, myself in costume, we did not come with the buildings even though we're dressed like it. Nobody has actually lived at Historic Charlton Park besides Mr. Charlton himself and a couple security staff over the years.